spot when they leave the
Kim
country.
Jong-un could drive at age 3 and was a competitive sailor at age 9.
There must have been like some South Korean comedic propaganda at some point that said, "Oh, our leader, our supreme leader, doesn't have a butthole" or something like that. And they're like, you know what?
And when you stumble upon a point of view that feels good about someone else being raped, are you willing to accept that point of view? That's the paradox of
What?
humility.
What?
So what?
Q, what's your calling? Q, what's your calling?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Maybe I Don't Know, a secret conversation between me and my very good friends. On this podcast, we talk about all kinds of moral issues, different moral quandaries that maybe a lot of people haven't heard of, different obscure topics. Today, we're joined by a very good friend, Jordan. Do you want to say what's up?
Hello.
And of course, as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Rob.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Rob. Jordan, great to have you on the show. I want to give a shout out to our FBI agents. My FBI agent listening in is, of course, the one and only Bartholomew. Hey, Bartholomew, how's it
Shout
going?
out to Frank, my boy over at the FBI. And Jordan, everybody has an FBI agent. What's your FBI agent's name?
Of course. Mine's Samuel Jameson.
Of course.
Samuel Jameson.
Descendant
Wow.
of the famous Jameson, yeah, obviously. The guy that makes the liquor.
Of course, he's been in the force for a while now.
Yeah, quite.
Very successful. He's got a great business going, and he's an FBI agent. What an amazing man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
over the weekend, guys, I learned for the very first time that, in fact, Kim Jong-un cannot bend space-time. Have you guys heard this?
I always thought he could. As 1/8 North Korean, I thought my master could bend space-time. This is really disheartening, actually.
You know what they usually say is that he can't poop. He doesn't poop. It just stays in his body, and then it goes into like a black hole or something like
Wait.
that.
Have you seen the movie, The Interview?
Yeah,
Is that an
I'm
actual
pretty sure that was a
thing?
common theme.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's grounded in some sort of rumor conspiracy thing.
Yeah.
Like, do you think the North Korean government made sure to tell its people that Kim Jong-un doesn't poop because that would
I'm
make him
sure that-
less of a god or something?
There must have been like some South Korean comedic propaganda at some point that said, "Oh, our leader, our supreme leader, doesn't have a butthole" or something like that. And they're like, you know what? We'll make that a fact now. We're gonna have to run that shit. And then Kim Jong Un now has no butthole. He had.
I think it's like because Korean culture is like everybody like gossips with each other, right? So I think that just like kind of came up in conversation with like some old grandmas talking with each other. They're like, "Oh, did you know he can't poop? He doesn't have a butthole." They're like, "Oh yeah, I think I heard about
He doesn't
that.
have a butt.
Heard about from the
Dude,
family down the
He
street."
can't tan his butthole. He can't get
Wait,
energy
so-
from the sun.
very unfortunate. Well, he can tan his smooth edge, is what he can do.
Oh yeah. I bet it's just as powerful as a butthole. Kim Jong-un's
yeah.
smooth edge.
Well, he's got a
So-
colostomy bag because the shit has to go somewhere.
So was it
Yeah,
like
that's
a
true.
common thing, like that he can bend space time? Was that somewhere?
So
what's this article that you brought up?
Yeah, so I'm going to get into it a little bit, but Kim Jong-un has a lot of superpowers that at least the government proclaims that he has. And I have an article with the different superpowers that at least the government says he has.
Okay.
And in recent time, so they came out, the North Korean regime came out and said that he in fact cannot bend space-time. It's a funny statement just to hear.
Where's
I
the
just think
quote?
it's surprising that New York Post found this so profound that they had to make a whole article about it.
Oh, there were so many. This was not the only one. There were so many people writing about this. It was
There's
amazing
a-
news.
I feel like they must have been like waiting for something to happen out of North Korea, like
Who
Just like how they're
North
waiting for Trump
Korea
to tweet
released
something.
this? Like, why was this information they had to share
Yeah,
with the rest of the
it
world?
was shared by the North Korean official newspaper. I tried to find the official
North
newspaper.
Korean-
Yeah, I tried to find it, but I couldn't find the official newspaper. I wish
Do
I
you
could
think-
get the actual article, but
Do
I
you
don't
think
know.
like foreign governments were like, oh, I thought you could bend space time and make imaginary dreams come true, and then Kim Jong Un had to say no so much that they had to release an official statement.
Yeah, like like when Trump met with him, all he kept asking
Yeah.
him about was like, "Hey, can you bend space
Hey,
time for me? I need to
heard you
see
got
that."
that. Heard you got that space time thing going on. You know.
Yeah. He wants to harness his power.
Exactly. Trump wants to weaponize it, and then when he found
Yeah,
out that it
weaponize
wasn't
Kim
the
Jong-un.
case, he was like, Trump found out very quickly that Kim Jong Un couldn't, bend space time, and that's when he started insulting him over Twitter again.
Dude, the hell! I
Yeah,
can't believe Trump did that to our boy Kim Jong Un.
exactly.
So what they believe is that there's this thing called Chuck. I'm not gonna say this right. Maybe Rob could give the right pronunciation for this word.
I brought it up.
Wanna
I
attempt
think
it?
the pronunciation is Jukjibak.
Okay,
Jukjibak.
perfect.
All right, I'm
So-
never gonna get that right.
Yeah, I'm never gonna say that right. But it's the idea that like just like Einstein said that space is like this physical thing that you can bend and then cross over. They thought that Kim Jong Un had this ability to bend space time and then like travel over it. And
Distance shrinking magic.
yeah, exactly. So obviously we all know now he in fact cannot bend space time.
Obviously, we have to discuss the moral quandary in this. Is it a morally good thing that he can't bend space time? What do we think?
Would it have been better if he could for his people?
I'll be completely honest. I think that it's immoral that he cannot bend space time, and that is a hot take. And if you
it's
disagree
immoral.
with me, you're wrong.
You think like leaders of countries, it's like almost a prerequisite that they need to be able to bend space time to become a leader of a country in order to protect their
Quite.
people.
In fact,
Obviously.
a lot of people say it's not really chance that people get elected over and over like Kim Jong Un does, and that it is due to his space-time bending abilities.
Yeah, I wonder
So
how this
now-
is gonna affect him.
Yeah,
now
if that was
they've
a lie.
unfolded this, yeah, exactly. That just means that the people just love him so much that they just keep electing him to power.
Well, we now in the next election we'll see if he drops in the polls. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's true.
So
Did
this
they even hold elections?
Oh, they do. You know, Kim Jong Un is one of the only leaders in the world that is unanimously elected year after year.
All the time. Yeah,
Oh.
every year.
Interesting.
Unanimously elected. Yep.
Probably uses that distance shrinking magic to pull in those votes.
Yeah,
Yep.
something, dude. Well, now he can't use it. He doesn't have it.
We have no explanation for why this happens. Maybe the Korean people are completely unified towards
Yeah,
electing him.
of course. And well, this also will tie into the quandaries, I think, about this whole idea. But this led me down the rabbit hole, and this is when we came up with the idea for our episode today that we want to talk about people that believe they have superpowers and what wrong are they doing with these beliefs. So Kim Jong-un has other superpowers that his country believes in. And I think the real issue that we can talk about is that, one, does this help brainwash his people? If they believe that he is some other being with all these crazy powers, what can he convince them to do, right? And so they believe, the North Korean government believes that he can control weather, which is a common theme. We'll see this come up again. The power to control weather, it comes up quite a bit. He can cure diseases and he can make unicorn discoveries. This, by the way,
What is that?
this is from the South
It's
China
plural.
Morning Post.
Wait, it's plural, Chris.
Make unicorn discoveries?
Oh yeah, he's made multiple.
He's
He's the only one.
He probably thinks like a pony is a unicorn or something.
No,
He's
he
like, guys,
probably,
I swear, I saw the unicorn.
I could have
probably
sworn.
just sticks a sword in a horse's head and he's like, yeah, this is a unicorn now.
This is a unicorn.
I've discovered unicorn.
Multiple times he's discovered a
He's
unicorn.
found many unicorns. North Korea is one of the only lands where unicorns are naturally occurring. They just naturally occur in North Korea and North Korea only.
Because he summons them. He probably creates
yeah,
them.
It's
Beautiful.
true. That's why no one's ever seen one, because the only people that have seen them get killed on the spot when they leave the
Kim
country.
Jong-un could drive at age 3 and was a competitive sailor at age 9. I mean, I don't know. What is he? How does he even reach the pedals?
Let's be honest. It does say could drive. It doesn't say drive well. So
they
He had
probably
the
just
ability to
assumed.
drive.
he has the ability.
They probably asked him. He was like, "Yeah, I could drive."
I mean, he doesn't have to obey any laws, so driving well for him is a very low bar,
Yeah.
I
And
see. He
how many
just
other
has to
people
put their
drive
hands
cars
on
in
the
North
wheel.
Korea? Like, how many people can afford cars?
Probably like 2.
Right? So
Okay, so this
I could
article
count
says he
them on
could
my
drive
hand.
at age 3. He can control the weather. What else does it say that he has? He can.
No, so I thought this was crazy. Listen to this. North Korean scientists formulated a miracle drug and a
What?
combination of ginseng and rare earth metals that with one injection can treat AIDS, Ebola, many cancers, heart disease.
No, this is true. I've heard about this.
impotence.
Yes.
Yeah,
all
this
of
is
this.
true.
And harm from the use of every single thing you can think of, probably even coronavirus. This
Harm
miracle
from
drug.
the use of computers, where are they talking like posture or something like that?
So I heard about this.
Arthritis.
This is the only use of radioactive isotope 36 and mercury and
Excuse me?
ginseng and a vigor.
really? And people
in a
inject
vigor.
this?
Oh god, they love it. It's the best.
Oh my god.
It cures everything. Cures
Dude.
even
Yeah,
life.
Like, obviously,
the main problem is your use of computers. You're getting too much arthritis from that. So.
Yeah, that's true.
I bet the propaganda in North Korea is that people don't need computers because, like, it'll kill you or something. Like, I bet that's some kind of a propaganda that, like, using a computer is bad for you.
I don't even know, like,
only
if they know what a
theorize.
computer is.
Probably not. They have so little access to information there, and that's where the real kind of moral quandary comes into play, because I'm sure anybody in North Korea could read this and be like, they're right, because that's all they know. All they know is the propaganda from the government.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
So-
I've seen those videos where they do like a deep dive into North Korea, and it's like they go to like a tech store just to see how technologically advanced they are, pretty much like what the public has access to. You could say like access,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like they're still stuck in like VCRs and like record players and like basic computers, like stuff that like your if you just broke your phone in half, like that's what your computer
Yeah,
is.
it's like 40 years. It's like 40 years behind, right?
Yeah.
And I heard, like, recently, I heard that they recently invented the floppy disk, like, not that many years ago. I bet I could pull that up.
Someone should just like throw an iPhone over, like just drop it in from the sky. Like,
We gotta
what is
bomb them
this?
with iPhones.
Yeah, let's just make this. Actually, let's just make this episode about North Korea. Honestly.
Oh, did he invent that?
With the floppy disk.
He did.
Kind of looks like Eugen Chris.
It actually looks like a
No,
bad
no.
Photoshop. Oh, wait, go back, Chris.
I don't think this is. The camera's
It
quality
looks
is
like a
very
bad
bad.
Photoshop.
The
Yeah,
camera quality is very bad.
He looks so young, you know.
there's no shadow from the
He
floppy
is young,
disk.
dude. He's not that old.
Yeah,
He's
he's just
like-
obese.
He's young. He's 36.
Yeah, I mean he's middle aged. Yeah.
No, he's a geezer in North Korean age.
Here we go. Here we go. September 2017. They produced the first 100 floppy disk drives of 1.2 megabytes.
Not
What
bad.
an accomplishment, national
In
accomplishment.
Doesn't that just
2017,
look like a floppy disk they bought at like an American-made store or something like
they
that?
probably bought it from
Yeah.
China. Like, they probably
They
had China
probably bought
ship
from
it to
China.
them.
No
Yeah, they're
way
like-
they made that with the exact same design. And like,
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
like we just invented this.
They somehow invented the same exact format, everything.
Yeah. Oh, I guess it just announces they're producing it, so
Yeah.
they're progressing. You know, that's good.
So, I think most people can agree that this is morally wrong. I mean, for a leader of a country to
Well, yeah.
spread this kind of stuff to, I mean, their citizens, I'm sure everybody can agree that brainwashing your citizens in this way is wrong. And this idea of basically brainwashing people of having these superpowers is something we'll get back to. But obviously, for a leader, I mean, does anybody disagree? Right? I think for a leader to do this, we can see
No,
this as morally wrong.
yeah,
Hmm.
no, for sure. Especially like the disease, like the cure to everything. Like if your people believe that you have a cure to
Oh
everything,
yeah.
I mean, I guess pretty much what they're saying is that their cure to everything is that they just kill you. But like, you could say that like if you eat a Tide Pod, you don't have to do laundry anymore. Like, that's true.
Well,
Also
in
true.
That is
in a
true. That is
country
true.
that is absent of like religion and like internet, um, maybe him saying he has superpowers is like something for people to, have like faith in, right? Like
Mm.
maybe it gives them sort of like a hope or something like that. And could you say that is that bad? Like, does it do any harm to say that he does have superpowers?
Well, like Jordan just said, giving them a drug that has rare earth metals like radioactivity that can cure everything is gonna kill. He's killing his people, basically.
Yeah. I mean, he probably isn't even injecting people with anything. He probably just he's like, oh, the drug's in this room, and then there's just like a bunch of soldiers on the other side. It's just like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
where'd
kind of
my
fucked
mom
up.
go? She just went into that room. Oh, yeah,
He went to the
she's
hospital.
cured. She's
He took
cured
her to a
now. Kim
doctor.
Jong Un cured her, and now he's making her his wife, or he said something like that. He's making her one of his, 50 wives.
Wait, I think Kim Jong Un. Well, that doesn't really matter. I think he does have one wife, doesn't
Oh, no
Mm.
way.
She's becoming the Kim Jong Un's personal maid.
he? Yeah, look at her.
I mean,
Oh, not bad.
Kim Jong Un's what is it? His sister?
Oh, dude,
I heard she's just crazy though. I heard she's insane.
she
Like
is.
just as
Oh,
crazy.
Look at
she
her.
looks scary. Jeez.
She looks
She's
a
got some
little
nice bone
crazy.
structure. She looks like a Gucci model.
She looks
Everybody,
skeleton mode.
this thing here, everybody was on the internet was blowing up because of what she was doing here
Yeah.
with the bread and everything.
That's a piece of
Mm.
bread that looks like a piece like a
She's
bag.
Russian. She's a hardworking
Yeah, no, she's
businesswoman.
exactly with her pink suitcase.
Oh my gosh.
She
Yeah.
likes Western ideas.
So
And
if he-
by
if he
Western, she
dies-
means all the way around the world to Japan.
If he dies, that's gonna be the new leader, and we'll see what superpowers she'll have when she
You
comes
think-
into leadership.
there was that rumor that he would like had coronavirus or got really sick recently. Maybe he tried some of his ginseng plus rare earth metals medicine, and that's
Yeah.
what got him sick.
Maybe he took it.
He was like, you know what? I could survive that.
They said that he recovered, didn't they? Because I
That-
remember they said that
yeah.
he was in a coma, but then he recovered. Like I
Yeah.
feel like they're just Weekend at Bernie's him, all around, just like his
Carrying him
officers are
around.
like, Kim Jong Un is fine. Look, he is healthy and well, and then they like control his
Yeah.
mouth.
You're just
Yeah.
wearing sunglasses.
Guys,
in
he's
the back.
recovered. I swear.
Two thumbs up.
Yeah,
So,
he's perfectly good.
so, this is more obviously of a funnier topic, but I think going along with our whole superpower idea, Rob, you found a very interesting, I guess you could say, cult that kind of believes they have superpowers. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so this cult, and I don't know if it's like a general cult, like there's multiple of these cults, but cannibal cult is where people eat each other and believe they can get superpowers from doing so. So this is interesting because like talking about North Korea, I believe there's like a rumor going around or like conspiracy that North Korea is actually like in a huge famine and they eat each other. Maybe this is how Kim Jong Un gets his superpowers. He's just eating his citizens or something like that. But
What a transition.
I wouldn't put it past him, to be
Yeah.
honest. I would not put it past him.
But yeah, this article is about like this group of people in Papua New Guinea or something like that, and they're like an illiterate society. They found these witch doctors and they didn't like them or something like that. And they said by eating witch doctors' organs, the cult members believed they would attain supernatural powers and literally become bulletproof. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow,
We should test this out.
that's insane. It would
Just
take-
what's a non-essential organ that you guys don't need? We can probably give each.
What says a penis? I
Well,
mean, that's pretty non-essential.
we got to become witch
Oh,
doctors
whoa.
first.
No, that's what they made penis soup out of these witch doctors. Oh wait, where's this say it? Yeah, it says allegedly ate their victims' brains raw and made soup from their penises.
Oh no, poor guy.
Isn't that crazy? How did they even
Yeah.
like melt the? How did they melt it? Like, did they make like penis
And-
stock or broth? or
You know
something?
what? If I ate nervous tissue like them, I would probably believe that I had superpowers also.
Wait,
To
so
be completely honest,
So
that's
Jordan, you were talking about like eating nervous tissues like messes up your what does it do to you?
it. I think it releases some type of awful chemical. You could actually look this up right now, Chris. Just eating nervous tissue and how it damages the body. But it just like it destroys your nervous system. And you just
Okay.
pretty much go insane. That's why they say that a lot of cannibals are crazy. It's
Bacterial
'cause they,
toxins and the nervous system.
Uh-huh.
yeah,
So like
Like-
messes something up with like your brain too and like the neurons firing.
yeah. That's why a lot of animals that wind up eating humans, like dogs and things like that, like like when the owner dies and the dog is left in the house with the owner and they've been dead for like a month and they eat the owner, that kind
Uh-huh.
of thing. Those dogs are not adoptable. They have to put those dogs down usually because they feel
Would
like
they get rabies or
some-
something or what?
no, it's just like a neurotoxin.
So
So
and
they
it-
go
they'll just
crazy
die.
basically.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, they can
Hmm.
die or they just go crazy.
Maybe this is why they believe that it gives them superpowers and they become bulletproof because like when you eat them like
You just go insane.
you go
just-
insane like
you
you're
go
on
crazy.
PCB or something like
Yeah.
that, you know?
And you know what's interesting is that these witch doctors are kind of doing what we're talking about, right? They tell their people that I have superpowers, I can do these special things, and it's because they basically lied to these people that they had powers that they are now dead. People ate them because they basically told them I have superpowers and they believe them. That's the reason almost why people started eating them, right? Because
Yeah.
they're
Well, I think
doing what we're
this-
talking about.
This said like the witch doctors were trying to cure people from witchcraft or like spells that were on them.
Oh,
And what else did this article said? It said like the people were mad at them because like they were convincing people to like have sex with them in order to get rid of their spells like that they had on them.
And we're back, guys. Sorry about that little break. But we were talking about the cannibals, right?
Yep.
So wait, did you want to pull that article back up, Rob? So
Yeah, you
the
see this
cannibal
guy's
cult,
foot?
right?
Yeah.
And this kind of ties into something that Jordan was talking about. And we have a couple different cults that we're going to talk about today before we get into the moral issues. So Jordan, you were talking about Jim Jones, right? Do you kind of want to explain who he is and what he did?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people have heard the story of Jim Jones and drinking the Kool-Aid, but I could just explain it from ground up. So pretty much Jim Jones, he was a religious leader. But he people believed that he had like some kind of healing powers. He eventually just went absolutely insane and wanted to just kill off people. And I can't do him justice just by talking about him shortly like that, because there are plenty of great documentaries about him. But he was a religious leader, and people believed that he had these powers, so people really put their trust in him, and people donated money to him, and to like his cause, which is to create a perfect society.
Did they ever say how many people he killed?
I think it was a lot.
It was like hundreds or something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
mass
Because the society
suicide.
he built was pretty big.
Let me see.
And wasn't there like a standing with him and his militia and the like the police department of
Ooh.
that state?
Yeah.
Didn't they
So
have that?
It was in
909.
Venezuela. Yeah, 909 people died to Jim Jones, and
Wow.
you see a lot of these like survivors of Jim Jones, and they're they're really still like brainwashed by him almost. Like they still think that he could have done good, or they're like, I don't blame him, things
Mhm.
like that. He clearly has had like a lasting effect on people. Um, it's almost crazy because he did try and kill them.
It's crazy that even though they saw him kill these people, people would still believe in him.
Yeah. Like and they even say like, oh, his cause could have worked if this or that. Like clearly the cause did not work
Yeah.
because he was crazy. He was insane.
So
Wait, so
apparently,
for the mass suicide, what was his like? Do you know his reasoning behind doing it? Because
I don't think he had a reasoning. That's the craziest part. Like normally you would think like, oh, the ship's going down. Like maybe he was, was about to commit suicide or
yeah,
something like that. I don't think he had a reasoning. I think he just wanted to kill a large amount of people, and on
really.
top of that, he killed himself.
Because I know a
Um,
lot of other cults, like they'll do like the mass suicide pact to like achieve like a higher level of consciousness that they think they can only reach like
Mhm.
after you're dead.
yeah, I think he was just. I think he convinced these people that they would get to heaven or something like that
Okay,
if they
so it's
would kill
probably like
themselves.
rooted sort of
Yeah,
in that.
yeah, I think there's some kind of recording of it, or some kind of reenactment, like a recount from people.
Man, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
so it says here that the reason why he wanted to commit suicide was, I think basically people were gonna storm Jonestown, and he said that.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, that might have been it.
And so he told them that the Soviet Union would not accept all the people that he wanted to bring with them. And he said that there were going to be people parachuting in on them to shoot a lot of their
Yeah.
innocent babies, torturing their children, all that stuff, when really they just wanted to save them. And they would probably only kill Jones. Or
Yeah.
what's his name? Jim Jones, right?
Jim Jones.
This the Soviet Union, wasn't it just like the local police department? I don't think it was this.
No,
I
he
mean,
wanted
he's
to
like,
go to the Soviet Union, but the Soviet Union wouldn't accept him.
Uh, okay.
Jim is kind of the epitome of somebody that you wouldn't trust because they have two first names.
Jim-
Yes, exactly. People who have two first names are just serial killers.
Is
Yeah.
that true?
Yeah. Let's look
Like
at some
who?
famous serial killers.
No way.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Well, Jack
okay.
the Ripper they never caught.
John Wayne Gacy. Now, that's not really.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? None of these are really two first
You know what?
names.
You know what I
what?
just remembered? The
Yeah.
highest murder count person. Can I dox our town, Chris, or no?
I'd
what I
rather
mean?
not. I'd rather just say in like Essex.
All right. Well, it's in that general area.
Mm-hmm.
He was at
Guy's
St.
name's Rosie
Barnabas
Triple.
Hospital.
Wow.
He was a nurse at St. Barnabas Hospital, and he poisoned. He has the highest known kill count. You can look him up.
Because he killed people at St. Barnabas?
He would poison people consistently. But this is we're getting off track here. We're getting on to like serial killers now.
Harold Shipman.
I think that's him. Yeah.
Harold Shipman. Whoa.
This guy grew up around you guys.
Well,
Apparently.
in like the 70s or the 80s, he just would poison people, and they never associated him with these killings. I think he actually got like rehired at another hospital and
I
kept
think
killing
I've
people.
heard of this. Okay, but yeah,
But
that's it's a little bit off topic, but yeah, wow.
Does he have superpowers?
his superpower is that he kills people very effectively and gets away with it.
Yeah, he did a very
He's
good
an
job of killing
efficient
people.
killer. Wow.
His power is that he has a nice beard and some
Yeah.
fancy glasses.
So Jim Jones was another one of these cult leaders, basically gone as bad as it can get. It's the worst possible ending for like a cult like this, right? a mass suicide.
Mm.
And there's a new cult on the horizon, this new religion being formed on the horizon, and it's super popular now. Everybody's heard of this guy. Well, maybe more people are starting to hear of him, not everybody. But his name is Bentino Massaro. Okay?
Bentino.
He's another one of these people that believes he has superpowers. Even though his cult isn't really formed. I mean, he does talk about having superpowers to his cult members. But more of his cult is like, it's more about self-help. So he helps you become like a better person, help you achieve your goals. It's like one of those, you know? He's like one of those entrepreneurs on Instagram. Huh?
Yeah. It's like those self-actualization type of things.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that's his whole idea. But he, and I want to see if I can pull up a video. So he has, YouTube videos. This isn't his YouTube. I'll have to pull up a YouTube video of him, but he kind of shows off one of his superpowers. Huh?
There's a video I saw when I was reading this article that was like about him explaining what bliss is. If you could just show like the first couple seconds of it. I think it's what is bliss? You see that? It was right there. If you go down. This video is creepy. Look at that.
Oh God.
Okay, we gotta pull this on the full screen. Let's take a look at this guy. This is him, Bentino Massaro.
From the beginning.
People clearly paid for his plastic surgery.
On bliss? What is bliss?
I did not expect him to talk like that when I first saw it.
He's like Swedish or something. Why is he not saying anything?
It's like a jump
Bliss
scare
is-
almost when you open up that video.
The almost uncontrollable
That's true.
reaction of the human experience to its recognition
Wait, pause this
of
for a
other
sec,
freedom.
Chris.
Mm-hmm.
All right, people pay like $1,200 a ticket to see this guy, and he can't afford a better camera than this.
Seriously.
Yes.
Well,
He's using,
maybe
like, a
I think this
flip
is before when he blew up. So
This is
in
2010. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
He's got better
actually,
equipment now,
that's
hopefully.
reasonable. I had a flip video camera in 2010.
Yeah.
Dude, the flips
Yeah.
are sick.
The
This
flips-
podcast is sponsored by Flip Video.
Oh, please sponsor. I'll take any sponsor.
I don't even think they make those anymore.
I hope that company didn't go under.
Oh,
Speaking
I'm sure
of
they
Bliss,
did.
do you guys know the Windows background Bliss?
What is that?
Is that the field?
Yeah, it's the field.
Oh.
Yeah, the green field.
Just making sure nobody has forgotten about that.
It's one of the most famous photographs ever.
So he's, I mean, whatever. We can get into some of his talks. I mean, it's not that important.
Yeah, okay.
Because the real problem, I mean, I'm sure what he says about this stuff, there's worse videos that will probably show of how he interacts with his cult members. But like, I'm sure him talking about bliss, like, he looks very weird, and like, he's just showing how happy he is to probably show how much bliss he has. But
No, yeah, that was a nice video. Felt
yeah. He's obviously such a happy guy. It just immersed.
Maybe
in
he
bliss.
misdefined bliss. Maybe his version of bliss is different than the dictionary definition of bliss.
Well, do you guys should we watch the whole thing? You guys want to see it?
I just want to see what his definition of it is, unless he
let's see.
never actually gets to a definition.
Let's take a
He
look.
does
But
in the
for the
first,
whole video.
it's just him smiling.
All right, let's see.
I really
Imagine seeing someone smiling like this down the street. That'd be so scary.
Mhm.
I'd be like, this guy's gonna kill me.
If this guy's walking at me, I'm running. There's no way I'm not running.
Okay, short comment on bliss.
Short
What is
comment on
bliss?
Blit. What is?
I don't think he knew it was recording, like in the beginning. Or maybe he did.
Bliss is the almost uncontrollable reaction of the human experience to its recognition of utter freedom. When the mind starts to realize that its very nature is freedom itself, and that there's nothing in the world that can destroy it, harm it, affect it, or impede upon its freedom, then the inevitable response of the mind, or you could say of the body, but is bliss.
God, he really said a lot of nothing. I actually regret telling you to watch the rest of that, Chris. That was just 1 minute of him just having a circular
I
argument
don't
with
even know.
himself.
Some of that doesn't even really make sense. Really, he said,
So
yeah. What were you gonna say, Rob?
So I think what he's saying is bliss is the reaction to knowing your mind is free and indestructible. I think that's like that.
Yeah.
That was like his definition, right?
Which is a crazy thing to think, that you're indestructible. That's almost what probably leads to a lot of these cult behaviors where they do crazy things. Like, that kind of logic could get a bunch of cult people to just be like, hey, let's go storm the Fed and steal all their money. We're indestructible, guys.
Right. Yeah.
That kind of thinking, and that's a superpower within itself, being indestructible, right? That kind of thinking is scary almost. Have you guys seen
Yep.
like Fight Club?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I recently watched that, and
You
that
hadn't seen it
line.
before?
No, I hadn't seen it before. I watched
Oh.
it halfway through, and then I stopped because I was watching with my siblings, and it's obviously a very graphic movie, so I got uncomfortable and stopped watching. But when I fully watched it through, that's almost the same thinking that those people had. And when the guy shoots him, oh wait, I can spoil it, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's so old.
I think most people have seen Fight Club, and if
I would hope so.
if they haven't, then like this would probably the spoiler kind of encourages people to watch the movie, honestly, if they
Okay.
haven't seen it yet.
Cool. It's a very good
But-
movie.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
If you are
exactly.
planning to watch it. He shoots himself at the end and he lives. And almost, he doesn't even look like he's in pain by it. And he's basically an indestructible human being. And that methodology, that belief that he had, allowed him to, and his followers, it was basically one big cult, to go and commit these crazy acts, like blowing up what were the companies called? The credit card companies, to erase the debt.
I forgot what the whole plan was, but it doesn't make any logical sense if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to get into what, Fight Club and...
Yeah, I think it was more about the fact that spoiler again, his alter ego, Tyler Durden, was controlling him to do these things. And he shot himself to like shut the voices up kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I honestly, whether or not he himself, he made himself out to be kind of like this good guy, but now knowing that he has that kind of side to him, I don't know if he can qualify himself as a good guy anymore. You know what I mean? Like he could still carry out the acts. They leave it kind of open-ended at the end, because they do blow up the building, and he can see it from a vantage point. So it's really like up to your imagination. But obviously, it's not like a progressive type of mentality to deceive people like that.
So I guess what you're trying to say is he wasn't like he's not like a Bentino Massaro. He's not intentionally deceiving or at least he didn't think he was.
No, unless Bentino has like some form of multiple personality disorder.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of like based on the article that we have here, there was people like his followers saying that he would yell at his people and like he would curse them out.
Oh,
right, Chris?
That was the video I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
So
maybe he does have this Tyler Durden.
Oh, he's weird.
Side of it. Why don't you CGI?
Oh, Bentini.
There it is. So he curses his followers out.
Saying fuck you. Oh no, he didn't say fuck you. Oh my god.
They walk. Why isn't this? It should be more popular. What is it, Massaro or something?
Fuck you, Tony.
Tells
It
fans,
might be the best relationship
yourself.
advice. Because that's the only one that comes up. Well, it has 75 views. That is odd.
Did you
No.
watch the video?
I saw a much longer video about it. Maybe I can find like just a general.
You always know that the thumbnail's
Wait.
going to be good when he doesn't flip his camera.
That's Bentino up top?
Here we go. This is a video, the Vice video. The guru who wants to upgrade civilization, and then the clip is like here. Somebody comes up, asks him a question, and then you'll see how he interacts
I
with
have
them.
to say,
Creatures, cellular life forms.
there almost isn't a way yet to describe it.
One of the things that the people love so much about it.
You made it. Silence is very addictive, huh? Get immersed in it, starts to feel really good,
might be
expansive.
I can't place his accent at all.
And I could talk to all.
Sounds like
had this things
like
with them,
Indian
like,
accent a
see,
little bit.
Just
Mm.
And to listen to what you have to say because you talk
Where's-
like
Come
joining
on, Chris.
forces
Where
with
did
our
you...
alien.
Whoa, was that him?
Oh, this is a good.
Oh.
We should see this clip. This clip is in. This is how he believes he has superpowers.
Counterparts, his purported telekinetic powers, and what,
What
she
the-
called normalized abuse. We decided
I mean, he literally could just be blowing on the thing.
He
Yeah,
could
that
be
was-
blowing on it. He could have rubbed his socks on the floor and electrically charged his little fingies.
Fingers. Yeah. So
More
he
likely
literally-
he blowed on it though.
he literally talks about that thing, and he's like, I was able to move the gum wrapper, so I didn't like keep working on my superpower. I just left it at that because I knew I had superpowers.
He
I
got
just-
scared.
yeah.
And he just happened to catch it on camera, like the first time he...
Oh, I blew on it. Oh.
Where is this?
The
Here?
more silent you become, the more you see. Go deeper and different levels, because in a way,
recent years. In a way, I choose to
What about the dance? Oh my
It's a
god, I'm
bunch
not
of
gonna
old
find
people.
it.
ability.
just
All over the
The
world.
sound production on this video is amazing.
In all of our
It's very cool.
ridicule it now.
Mm.
The whole idea is how much money to spend. I can't even go on ground up. For the first 3 years,
I don't know if we're gonna find it. I wish I could, because it's scary the way he interacts with his people.
Well, did someone have like a contrary idea to him or something?
Yeah.
No, he's just asked him like, how do I like love myself or something like that, and he just literally straight up tells him, "Fuck you," and like he just
Wait.
keeps yelling that at them, and somehow it like connects to this other idea. It might be this. It might be
I was
this.
so much freer. Party on Saturday. Everything is possible.
This is him.
I love you.
I think this is the video. I think this is the
you
video.
yourself can decide what you want to create in your own life.
This
Right
is
here, right here, right here.
acting and training, and I did have some results with that.
Oh, this is the clip I
With
was
this
talking
one in
about.
particular. I started researching telekinesis. This got me very curious, and I started practicing it myself and experimenting.
Yeah,
and
you could just
training, and
practice
I did
something
have
that's
some
impossible.
results with that.
Mhm.
Just some tinfoil that I could spin on a table. At some point, I rolled a pen across the table, and that's when I thought, okay, this is enough. I don't have to practice this anymore. I've proven it to myself it's possible, and
This is
ever
enough.
since I haven't really done it or even attempted it anymore. Know that you feel good right now. You feel
I
really,
haven't
really
really
good right now.
attempted it.
Spaceships are docking in and out of Station Earth,
What?
and all these ET
Station Earth.
beings are enjoying interacting with us. And I'll share with you this beautiful location, which I believe has been generated by
Here we go.
You, what's your calling?
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, so he's a firm believer in aliens.
Probably. Okay, so
Okay.
listen to this. This is the clip.
A happy planet. What? How?
F you. F you. F you. What's your calling? F you. What's your calling? If you weren't so high up in your own ass about this fucking concept
You wrote it
of
down.
respect, you would actually see how much love there is behind me saying what I say.
And when you stumble upon a point of view that feels good about someone else being raped, are you willing to accept that point of view? That's the paradox of humility. So what? Somebody
Wait.
is being
Wait,
triggered.
go back.
Wait,
for a
what
second,
did he
Chris.
say?
He just
Okay,
said
okay.
something absolutely batshit and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Go back a little bit further. All right.
On a
Okay,
point
when
of
you
view that
stumble-
feels good
oh, yeah.
about,
Is behind me saying what I say.
and when you stumble upon a point of view that feels good about someone else being raped, Are you willing to accept that point of view? That's the paradox of
What?
humility.
What?
So what? Somebody is.
That's the
It's
paradox. of
what?
It's
humility.
humble to accept that point of view. Oh my god.
It feels good
When you accept that point of view, that's
of
crazy.
somebody being raped. That's
Being
humility.
triggered. That is funny.
Oh, his
How is that not
staticky
funny?
microphone.
Well, when the article came out, I
So that's Bentino Massaro. And we can watch a little bit
was
more
not
because he killed
surprised.
somebody. Well, he
I
didn't
understand
necessarily
that the
kill
nature
somebody.
of my work rubs some people the wrong way. I've
Here, we
seen
could talk
a
about
lot
this.
of envy and jealousy and opposition. Well, it was a good lesson for us to become more mindful as to who we just let into our everyday meetings or what have you. I'm a good person. My intentions are good, and I want what's best for everyone. I don't want anything.
There we go. We'll talk
They
about
are
this.
a cult, but yeah, if someone else thinks it's fine.
But I don't think that's what it is.
Oh.
I don't know.
What the?
What is it? Tell me quick and tell me now. What is it? The train is leaving. You have no time to think. What is it? It is only because you still believe it is serving you that you keep perpetuating that which does not
What does that
serve
mean?
you.
It
Do you
doesn't
feel
mean
that?
anything. He's
Can you
just
see
saying
that?
nonsense.
Can you love yourself? Are you worthy of that? Are you deserving of love? Are you infinitely worthy? Are you infinitely worthy? Are you infinitely worthy? Yeah? Are you?
Dude looks like a fucking JoJo villain right now, honestly. Go back, look how pointy his shoulders are. Looks like he's about to take out, a few people in the crowd. It's like
Yeah.
you have fallen into my trap.
So he does these seminars where people will come to him and they pay $1,200 a ticket. It's like some other place of the world. He gives talks. You can see they ask him questions. He answers. A lot of the time, the way he answers, he's trying to get probably a reaction out of you. Like that girl crying, he probably was so happy that he like basically was just shitting on her, like saying, "Are you deserving
and
of love?
getting a
Are you? Are
reaction.
you?" You know? Could have been a paid
I-
actor.
I just think that I don't think that this could evolve into like a Jim Jones thing, but it could. I don't know how crazy this guy is. He seems nuts.
Oh yeah.
But I do think that it's like similar to like those mega churches with those, famous pastors and things like that live very comfortable lifestyles. Like he's just
Yeah.
trying to exploit people for money. That seems more like what he's trying to do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he only has positive intentions. Yeah, but it's mostly for himself. This is like a self-gain type cult.
He makes a lot of money. A lot of money, and I think he says it in the video, like close to $1 million like a year or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Something like that. So he's obviously profiting off of this greatly. And this is kind of where the moral quandary comes into play. So where do you think the moral quandary is here? If people are willing to accept your idea that you are some crazy healer, if he genuinely believes that he is helping people, so let's forget about the fact that he could know that he's lying. Let's say he genuinely believes that he has these superpowers and he's genuinely helping people and people are paying him. Is there a moral issue there? What do you guys think?
If he genuinely thinks that he's helping people by doing this, he would not be charging $1,200 a ticket. I'm just saying that right off the bat.
That's fair. Yeah.
I think his whole goal was to like make a new society of like enlightened individuals, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it later goes on to this article how he like there's like this clear hierarchy, right, in like the society that he's built, where like, but he claims that everyone's equal. So I think people are initially buying into like the fact that this is an accepting society, but then just soonly realizing this is all like a sham, right? And that's like they wasted their whole time because like I think some people like committed suicide from this, right? And like,
yeah, somebody committed suicide, and he came out he blamed it on the person. He basically said, it's not my fault that he took my words the wrong way and he committed suicide. That's what he said.
Because I think like on face value, like this whole thing is like really like, it's
Well, he
really
has to
like tempting, right?
distance
Like,
himself.
it's like, we all love you, you know, like you're deserving of all this love, and that's what will happen if you pay me $15,000. Like, I don't know. And I think because it's on the internet and social media, this is like even a little more dangerous, don't you think?
That's what helps him blow up so much. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
The social media aspect of it.
Well,
Yeah.
but here's a really hot take, very controversial take. Is this no different than any other religion?
See, that's a good question, because that's a great question, because I was thinking about that too.
I mean, I personally am non-religious. I do, you know, partake in Judaism, but like for like the cultural and like traditional aspect, less so like a religious reason. I'm not, you know, going to every single Friday service. I barely go to like one a year, you know. But I'm not I don't buy into many religions, so like this is my personal perspective. But what about like tithe in like the Vatican or something like that? Vatican City needs to maintain itself, right? And the Pope needs to, you know, ordain all his like chains and all of his like expensive like meals and things like that, and all his travel. Is that any different than this guy just taking money? And if so, like, does that make it more or less controversial?
I think what's different about this and like organized religion, like Judaism, Christianity, and like Islam, is like these organized religions have like this standard like text that they can rely upon for like, you know, how their religion is structured, you know, what are like the checks and balances and stuff like that, but like these cults like this really don't have any grounding in a set of rules. So when they start asking for money, like, where does that come from? They're just like pulling these rules out of their ass, where like, as like, you know, like Christianity, when you ask for tithing, do you have like the Bible that says that, but it also says like, you know, love your neighbors and stuff like that. So there's like more like, I guess not rules, but like guidelines and like how what can happen out of it. I don't know.
But like, here's a good in between is like Scientology.
Right.
Scientology wasn't originally written in a book. Some guy was like, yeah, we'll write it down in a book and sell it to people. And it was a cult the same. Just because he writes it in a book, I don't think that denotes morality of it, does it?
Yeah.
That's true. And I think like for Christianity, at least, like the morality of like it being written down in a book. Oh, Chris, your mic is echoing a little bit.
It's probably okay.
Like Christians believe like the Bible is written by God himself. So I don't know if Scientology sort of makes that claim.
I was gonna say was, I think that the difference here is, one, if you want, so within Catholicism, I think there have been times where I think many, I don't know if I can't say this about Judaism or other religions, I'm not too familiar with them, but there have been times where Catholicism has done immoral things, like asking people to basically pay their way into heaven with those offerings and stuff like that. I mean, the church is not free of immorality. There are many human beings that do immoral things, and even the Pope, before he came, the newest Pope, Pope Francis, came in, priests were driving super expensive cars and stuff like that, and he made them get rid of that. He made them get rid of their fancy cars, and the new Pope now is doing a lot of better good. But I think the difference is when you donate to the church, and this isn't entirely true, but there's a big difference between a priest and like one of those mega church pastors, right? That fly in jets 100%. And stuff, right? A lot of that money goes to food shelter or food drives, homeless shelter. Like they do a lot of charities, stuff like that. So I think in that aspect, the money side of it at least is different because it goes to different things. And you won't ever see like whoever, like the bishop of a church will never be nowhere near as rich as one of these mega church pastors who has like tens of millions of dollars. Like I think the biggest one is like $50 million net worth or something.
Yeah, I'm sure that that a lot of people believe in that, you know. But I think it still breaks down as you do give money, and it's just for something that you believe in is more the aspect. And coming from somebody that doesn't believe in anything, it seems that they all seem cult like. You know what I mean? Because Christianity did start as a cult. Jesus wasn't immediately famous, you know. In fact,
Sure.
after he died, probably nobody cared other than like his followers.
Yeah.
So it did start out as a cult, the same as this guy. Now, whether or not that's Christianity started out through a moral bounds, I have no say, because I don't know if he was even a real person or not. You know, I wasn't there. I didn't exist 1,000 years ago. I have no idea what Jesus's intentions were. If you so like knowing that this guy personally is charging $1,200 to be in company with people, I think that itself, like the buy-in cost, it makes it immoral. That's like a week and a half's salary on average.
Yeah. And I think what makes it more immoral is like, I think it comes from like what's actually being done with the money, right? If it was $1,200 and let's say a lot of like quote unquote good was coming out of it, like then could it be justified as moral? Like just because it's expensive, does that make it immoral? You know?
I
Because
think
like a
that
lot
if
of the
he
money
like
seems to be
donated
going
it,
to
yeah.
him.
I think that if he donated it, or if he, you know, used the money towards like making projects or something like that, like where
Right.
people build housing, I those would be humane forms of good. And it doesn't even seem like he's doing some kind of religious thing. That's the difference. I mean, sure, he claims he has superpowers, but it seems more like it's more in line with like a life coach.
Yeah, I think something that I wanted to bring up too was that if you do follow these other religions like Judaism, Catholicism, Islam, whatever benefits they bring, you don't have to pay for them. It's free to go to church
Yeah.
and hear your priest. It's free to do all this and reap the benefits. There is no need to actually give any money. It's obviously
Right.
there it's written in the Bible, and if you're a follower of Catholicism, they do say you have to give 10% of what you make. But they're not
You
gonna
don't
they're not gonna
really
stop
have
you
to,
from getting
yeah.
the information.
Yeah, they're not like gonna ban you.
Exactly.
you
And you
don't.
can
You're banned from the church unless you give
exactly.
us
You
10%
can do it
of your
completely
wage.
free, no money,
Right.
and things like what's it called? What was that?
Well, it's called
Scientology.
goodwill for a reason.
Wait, what did you say? It's called what?
I'm
Oh,
pretty
free
sure
will.
in the New Testament it's called like goodwill to the church or something like that.
Yeah. And what I was gonna say was like things like the problem where these cults kind of where they become a real issue is when they force you to not leave. And you see that with Scientology where they make you cut ties with your family members. You know, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know if Bentino's at that stage yet, but he might get to the point where he's like, "You guys are enlightened. You can't talk to any other enlightened people." And
Yeah.
you won't see
That'd
that
be
come. You
scary.
won't. That won't be a problem with other religions. Other religions want you to converse with other people and share their word. These cult leaders know that they're insane, and if you go talk to other people, that they can convince you otherwise. You know.
So it's like the exclusivity of it kind of makes it
Yeah.
cult.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like those like mobile apps with micropayments in them. It's like they make most of their
what?
revenue from like a minority of people, and that's because like they know that these specific people that they target will spend all of their money on the app. It's not like, oh, Clash of Clans, you know, we get like $100 million because each person that plays our game spends $1. It's like, no, like 99% of people don't spend any money, but there's that
I see.
1% of people that'll spend a lot of money on
A
this
week.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. It's almost like preying on the weak. And if he does tell people like, oh, don't talk to your family about your mental illness, talk to me. Oh, don't associate with your family anymore. Oh, we're going to set up a society together. It's just
Exactly.
him trying to prey on these people and suck as much money out of them as possible.
So why do you think like people are like so, or certain people are so easily to succumb to like people like Bentino or like people like Jim Jones? Like what is, because like
What traits
he's
do they
asking
have?
sort, yeah, like
It's
what,
it's weakness. It's like mental illness
like
or
vulnerability.
Like
yeah,
desperation?
not weakness. It's vulnerability. That would be a better way to phrase it. Yeah, or an act of desperation. Maybe you've committed wrongdoing and
Yeah.
you're very religious or something like that.
Mhm.
It could come with like lack of education, but I think mostly vulnerability. I feel like people see him as somebody that they can like relate to,
Yeah,
and
I
Oh,
think
that's
it's like the
interesting.
acceptance thing. Like people
yeah,
are wanting to be accepted, and he kind of quote unquote offers that at his seminars where he says
Mhm.
like, like, do you believe like you're infinitely loved? And then you're like, no, and
He's
he's like, well,
offering
you
like
are.
love.
It's like I'll love you.
yeah,
The society will.
and it's like a mob mentality. So like they once you're in there, they probably like are like, oh, you should talk to him. Oh, you should hear what he has to say. Embrace him.
Yeah.
You should talk to
Yeah.
the guru.
Talk to him.
Yeah.
Give him a, and he'll say fuck you, and that,
It's
that
like a
means he loves you.
seminar.
That means he loves you.
That means if you
No
get a
way, you
fuck
got him
you,
to say fuck you.
that's the highest honor.
Yeah, and then people afterward will be like, "Oh, what wasn't what he said so powerful?" And you're like, "You know what? Yeah, I've never had
Yeah.
anybody say fuck you to me 10 times in a room."
Like, no, he called you bitch. Nah, I never got in that.
That's the
God
second
damn.
level. That's the next level of enlightenment. So, this is, this is basically perfectly ties into the last question I wanted to bring up, and it kind of concerns psychics. And obviously, when we talk about cults, this can turn into a much bigger issue because, like you said, Jordan, perfectly, the mob mentality of it all, it almost becomes so hard to leave. But when we talk about psychics, like on an individual level, there's no mob mentality. Psychics aren't. I don't know if psychics are telling you, hey, don't talk to your family members about this and that or whatever. But I feel like there's a lot less restrictions on that, and yet people can still kind of fall into these traps, where they spend so much money and they believe, they put everything into the psychic, and the psychic could be wrong or right, and they put all this energy into them. And do you guys see that as, is the psychic doing anything wrong, morally wrong, by preying on these weak people that are coming to them, that are either desperate, vulnerable? It's not as bad as a cult, but are they still doing something morally wrong, or does everybody have a right? Do these psychics have a right to practice their business because people are willing to pay money?
I think it depends. Are we talking about like psychics that are, magician aligned? You know what I'm talking about, where they get up on a stage and they'll do like a
Yeah, I'm just thinking
psychic
of
magic
like the
trick?
cartoons where they like go around the magic ball or something, and then he's
Like-
like, "Oh, you're gonna
Like Chris
you're gonna
Angel, or are we talking like get your tarot card reading every week?
I think like tarot card
Astrology.
readings, stuff like that. Yeah.
Because
What's the tarot card reading?
that's where they have like the cards like the Joker, or you got the Sun card or something like
Yeah.
that. That means you'll be healthy this week.
You
Oh, I
basically
see.
draw cards from a deck, and they believe that the card is attracted to you. So whatever card you pick, that's your future. So you can use it to like guess people's emotions. You can use it to look at your future. You can use it to look at how you're feeling. There's a whole bunch of things around that.
Okay.
So people will be like, I'm going for this job. Is this job right for me? Pull some tarot cards. And they're like, oh, if you go to this job, you will be killed or something, and then they'll say no to the job, and they'll continue to work whatever they're working, and it could have real impacts on their life. But is it
I think it's weird that people make their decisions off of it. That's the weirder.
So do you think
thing.
the problem does not fall on the person practicing the tarot cards, it's that the people need to be educated? Or do you think the tarot card person is doing something wrong by allowing people to be manipulated?
I think it would be wrong if the psychic was like actively pursuing people to rely on them for their decisions. But it's not really wrong on their part if people come to them, ask like for advice or like a decision on like something life changing.
Okay.
Like that's on the person, you know?
So if people come to them, it's not really, you don't see that as a moral issue.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think people are like always looking for like, they don't want to make the decision themselves. They want someone else to. And if they believe that a psychic can do it, then that's on them. Like, it's not really the psychic's fault. They're just kind of providing the means.
Yeah. What do you think, Jordan?
I think that there was something relating to this. There's some skeptic, James, the amazing Randy. He's a magician and now retired magician. And he wants to pay $1 million to anybody that can prove that they have a superpower or that they're psychic. And he famously debunks magicians all the time, like Uri Geller, the amazing
How do you
Randy.
even prove you're psychic? Is there like a test?
That's what he does is he debunks magicians. So this is what he does for a living. Like he knows a lot of famous magic tricks. So like for example, he famously debunked Uri Geller. You can see it in that third video over there.
This guy, the supernatural.
Yeah, he's the guy that claims he's an Israeli magician that claims that he can bend spoons with his mind. And Randy immediately debunked this because he thinks like, oh, this guy just bends the spoons until the point that they're so weak that they just fall apart when he just shakes the spoon a little bit. So he gave him his own spoon and he said, bend this spoon.
Yeah.
And Uri Geller's like, I can't do it. And he's like, all right. And then he brought Uri Geller onto like a late night show with a bunch of spoons. And he's like, pick a spoon, any spoon, bend it with your mind.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do it because it's not possible.
Of course.
Pretty much, I think that if these people were real psychics, they wouldn't be, they would have proven that they're a psychic. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It is like a preying on the weak type thing, because I think that the only other people that psychics are marketed to are like an entertainment wide thing. Like, oh, let's get our tarot, or let's get our palm read, you know?
Yeah.
Let's have them melt wax in our ear or something like that. It's not really, it's fake. And I'm a firm believer in things that are definitely fake until like proven true. And this guy talks about that. He's written a lot of books on it.
So that's cool. I hope more people find them and can pull themselves out of this. I don't know, because once you get into that state where you start believing in this stuff, it becomes hard to kind of get out.
Like their clients are definitely the same clients that fall onto what's his name from before.
Jim Jones, people, Bentino.
Yeah, Bentino. It's just people that have that vulnerability. They're unsure on decision making, so they want someone else to really make the decision for them. So they're like, oh, this guy can make the decision for me, or an astrologist can, when really they should be hiring like a life coach or going to therapy to figure out how to make the decision for themselves.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Going to actual professionals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah.
No. Keep going.
No, I was about to just ask Rob to send this out, but yeah, did you have any closing ideas?
No, I completely forgot it. I'll be honest, Chris. This went from really funny to really serious really fast, but it was a trip.
That's the good. That's the best part about this show.
This is the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a good hour of talking about, what did we talk about? North Korea,
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un, and then we went to cults, and then James Randi, baby.
Yeah. He really is old. I thought he was in his 80s or something. He's 91
91
years old. Yeah.
Nice spry 91. Hope he has many more years.
Yeah. Well, well, Jordan, thanks for getting on the show with us. It's really nice having you, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Maybe, I don't know.
Thank you.